Hello, and welcome to Community with me, Melissa Sandfield. I am so excited to be here tonight. The guest that I have tonight, I've been waiting. I have like goose pimples right now. I've been waiting for him to come and bless our show with tell us all about the amazing things that he's doing downtown. He is the head of the Union Rescue Mission. And I want everybody that's here, because we have a few people here, give him a hand. As I introduce him, I want to say bringing him to the stage, but bringing him to the microphone, bringing him into your living rooms to tell you about all the great things that the Union Rescue Mission is doing. I would like to welcome Mr., and I'm not going to say Mr. because there aren't two titles, Reverend Andy Bales.
Thank you, Melissa. It's great to be here.
Great to be here. I'm so glad that you're here. The Union Rescue Mission has been around for 124 years.
Yes, and I have not been here the whole time. As my buddy Kenny Taylor suggests, as they walk the Hall of History and they look at the Gospel Wagon, and he tries to point out that I was on the Gospel Wagon in 1891, but I beg to differ. I've been there the last going on 11 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So give us a little bit of history about the Union Rescue Mission. I know it's been around. I've donated things. I was at Walmart one year for Christmas, and there was someone out there to take donations. I went inside and I bought shampoo and things like that, and that's how I first came to hear about the Union Rescue Mission.
I'm glad we were there, probably having a stuff the truck opportunity or something. But,
it was wonderful. So I know the Union Rescue Mission will celebrate 125 years next year. And tell us how it started.
Yes, it started with Lyman Stewart. He's an oil wildcatter in the LA area. He'd had success with oil in Pennsylvania. He knew what the hills looked like. And I guess the hills in Santa Clarita, that area kind of looked like his home area of Pennsylvania. And he just thought there were oil in their hills. And he started drilling for oil and struggled, probably lost everything a few times before he struck oil. And when he did strike oil, he started Union Oil. And 1 year later, he started Union Rescue Mission by starting a gospel wagon out on the street, pulled by horses. He would show up outside of the bars on Skid Row. So Skid Row's been around 124 years plus. He was the only guy who took an interest in these people who came out west to hit it big, right?
Right.
And they didn't hit it big, and they ended up on the streets of Skid Row, familiar tune to today.
Right.
And so these gentlemen were without jobs and dressed for a job but no job, and going to the bar, as many people do when they're unemployed and struggling. And they would wait outside the bars and they would present the gospel, and people would come to Jesus and quit drinking and get their life back on track, and they'd get on the wagon, right?
Right.
And then if they slipped and fell, they would fall off the wagon.
And that's where that term came from?
That's where the term comes from.
Wow.
Well, the bars in that time didn't like the gospel wagon because it took business. So there was actually a city law that was presented and passed that barred the gospel wagon from sitting outside the bars downtown at certain hours because it interrupted business. And so it's been a challenge all these years trying to do the Lord's work on the streets of Skid Row when even sometimes the city laws mandate a change in what you do.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so it went from a gospel wagon to a mission building in 1907 where the current city hall sits. So it was there for a few years, and then they wanted to build City Hall, so we were, as I call it, eminent domained, kicked out of that area and moved. And the mission moved to 2nd and Main next to St. Vibiana's Cathedral.
Okay.
And it was there for about 80 years. And then 21 years ago, they had a parade and they moved to our new facility between 5th and 6th in San Pedro. And it's a huge facility, biggest rescue mission in the country, 225,000 square feet,
wow.
5 floors, and the guest area on one floor, the cafeteria, the chapel. Second floor is our business offices, our second floor guests, our women guests and our men guests, and our clinics.
Right.
Third floor is the men's recovery program. Fourth floor is moms and dads with kids and 2-parent families with kids.
Oh, wow.
Fifth floor wing has graduates of the recovery program living in transitional housing. And then there's a spot where guys who've graduated, but they're not able to get back on their feet, not able to get a job,
Right.
health problems, mental health problems, good guys, they can
Right.
volunteer around the mission. They're just not ever going to, make it working outside the mission.
Right.
But it's permanent supportive housing for those guys that are on the fifth floor wing. And then we have this fabulous rooftop with one of the best views of LA that anybody
So
could ever see.
beautiful.
So if you ever want to have a great rooftop view of LA, come to Union Rescue Mission and ask for me, Andy Bales, and I'll take you up on the rooftop, take your picture with LA in the background, and tweet it.
It's a beautiful facility. I actually went down, which I'm going to surprise you with something later, but I went down and Alexandra gave me this wonderful tour.
Nice.
So I did get to see every floor. The rooms, the spaces where the folks reside were private, so I respected that. But I saw the gym, full basketball court, which gives you an idea of how big this building really is. There were washers and dryers, and I went to the rooftop and I fell in love. Like, I was literally up there, like, tears were in my eyes because it was so beautiful.
Yeah,
And
playground for the children.
And a playground for the children.
Yeah. Thanks for
And-
mentioning the gym. I didn't mention the gym.
Yes, the
And,
gym is
you know,
wonderful.
There was a special sports team today looking at our gym and how to renovate it. And I won't mention which one, but I
Wow.
will say that the other one who wasn't there today, if they want the other half to be represented, they better come down and renovate the other half of the
Oh,
gym.
wow.
So we can have both the Lakers and Clippers.
Yay! That's wonderful for us to have in our city the largest mission. And with so much Hollywood, celebrities will back certain things. And there are trends to do, different challenges, the lip suction challenge. I would like to challenge people, celebrities, to give back
Yeah.
to our
I'm
homeless
glad you
shelters.
would challenge them because they show up at other missions, and we have a few celebrities who show up at ours, but mostly the quiet ones show up at ours, and we'd love to have more representation of
There should be a
celebrities show up at
trend
our
of
mission.
that, because I believe, which is why I have this show, giving back is our duty.
Yes.
It's our duty.
Yes.
And if I could be, my friend Jeffrey from the Los Angeles Ronald McDonald House the other day said something about lunch ladies. And I said, if I could be a lunch lady, that's all I would do. I would really devote my time to the Union Rescue Mission, to the Los Angeles Ronald McDonald House, because there's a need for it. And I don't understand why we're here if we're not able to help others.
Well, you've got a great heart, and it's good to be the biggest, and we get followed by other missions around the country because we're innovative. But it's also sad to be the biggest because we're the biggest, and yet we're only a drop in the ocean of solving the problem.
Yes.
The problem with homelessness in Los Angeles is embarrassing. It's shameful. Nobody else in the United States has a Skid Row comparable to ours. Nothing like it in the U.S. It's the worst man-made disaster in the U.S. 2,000 people living in tents and boxes on the streets, more than 2,000, and dying on the streets, sick and dying on the streets, addicted, predators feeding their addiction, and it's left unabashed, unchallenged. It's almost as if everybody has backed off and let it occur, and it actually was planned. It was planned corralling and containment, send all the folks that had troubles to this area, kind of corral and contain it, and back off, and act like it's not there. Well,
Right.
it's time now that we know what happened. It's not enough to admit what happened. It's time to reverse that, and it's time to regionalize services
Right.
throughout LA County. So if you and I lose our apartment where we live, we can walk right to services in our own city, in our own
Right.
neighborhood, and get the kind of help we need without having to go to Skid Row, because Skid Row is full and all the missions are at capacity, and people are stuck out on the street and struggling, and it's really time for a heart change from Los Angeles.
Right.
In Los Angeles, we only put a roof over 25% of the people experiencing homelessness, and we're not embarrassed. And in New York, they put a roof over about 96% of the people experiencing homelessness. We have about the same number.
Right.
But they put a roof over 96% of the people experiencing homelessness, some kind of roof, shelter,
Right.
you know, apartment, something. And they're embarrassed that they only do 96, but we're at 25%, and we're not embarrassed. And people use the excuse, well, everybody comes to LA to enjoy the nice weather and be on the streets experiencing homelessness in the nice weather. That is not true. The vast majority of people on the streets in LA are from LA. They've been here for a long time.
Wow.
And the vast majority of people on the streets of Skid Row are from particularly South LA. So these are our people. And we can use myths to kind of make an excuse of why we don't help, but that myth is not true. These are LA folks who are struggling with homelessness.
And I believe that homelessness here in our city, because this is the city that we're speaking about, because we live in it, it's an ugly, ugly sore that has festered.
Yes,
and
it's everywhere.
And what do you do with the homeless people when you want to make downtown look so pretty and it's so trendy and you want to sell beautiful $1 million lofts? You keep shoveling them, you know, wherever you want them to go, like you say, corralling them to certain places. And I can't even understand the despair that someone may feel, not even knowing where they're going to be, how their children are going to go to school, how will they eat. You know, I took toothbrushes down to Skid Row on Father's Day.
Thank you.
And I would have never had enough.
No.
And the very last toothbrush that I had a lady and a man fighting over the very last toothbrush.
Yes.
And I was just like torn to
it.
bits.
I know, I've been there. Took 1,000 burgers maybe 15 years ago. I took 1,000 burgers to Skid Row and started grilling. And the line never ended, and we ran out of hamburgers. And, you know, it's frustrating when you run, but at least you try to do something.
At least you try to do something.
Yeah, but it's frustrating.
That's what I say, just even for myself, for anyone, do what you can. If it's just you doing something for one person, do something for one person.
Yes, that makes a huge difference.
It makes a difference.
We're going to have a church conference September 25th at Hollywood Presbyterian, and that's all we're asking. We're asking every church, just do the one thing you can, and you can make a huge difference.
Make a huge difference, a huge impact. There are different things that we can do. We will talk about as far as donations for the Union Rescue Mission, and we'll talk about all the great things that you do and the need of the Union Rescue Mission, because so many people depend on the mission, and we're going to tell you how many people are fed every day at the Union Rescue Mission. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Are you a diabetic? Need some energy? Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink is the healthiest, best-tasting energy drink around. For more information and online ordering with free shipping, please visit hiphopbev.com. Remember, Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, suitable for diabetics, great for everyone.
I am back, and I am with Reverend Andy Bales, and we are speaking about the Union Rescue Mission. He is the CEO. He's the man in charge. He's at the helm, running the largest mission in the United States. It's been around since 1891, and so 125-year celebration sounds pretty good.
Coming up.
It's coming up. Tell us, how did you find the mission? How did you get there?
Yeah, I won't tell you the whole story,
okay.
But 29 years ago, I was a school teacher in a Christian school, and I had been a youth pastor and figured out, you know, if you want to stay young, you hang around young people. If you want to die young, you try to keep up with them. So I became a Christian school teacher. I thought that'd be easier. Well, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they were picking on someone in my class. I think it was the 8th grade class.
Mm-hmm.
And this young lady wasn't dressed as nice, didn't do as well in school, and in their opinion wasn't as pretty. And they were calling her the names back in those days in the 80s. People may not remember, loser, dweeb, you know,
right.
all of those names.
Right.
And I just I said, knock it off. Don't treat someone like that in my classroom. But then I wondered to myself, where in this tough world is this young lady ever going to find love if she doesn't find it in a Christian classroom? If she can't find it here, where in the world will she find it?
Right.
And so I went home and I studied my Bible that night. And what can I share with the young people to wake them up? I had them, captive audience. What can I share that'll change their hearts? And I came across the scripture from Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 and following, that says, at the end of time, the king and his angels will come, and he will divide the nations, and he will separate the sheep from the goats, the righteous from the unrighteous. And to the sheep he's going to say, come, take your inheritance prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me, and I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick and in prison, and you came to visit me. And I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. And they said, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink, and so on? And he said, whatever you did to the least of these, my brethren, you did it unto me. And I translated it for the kids that day. I said, whatever you do to the losers of the world, you're doing as if you're doing it to God, to Jesus. And so I stretched it. Theologians tell me I stretched it. I said, if you say a hurting word to an already hurting person, I believe you're saying a hurting word to their Father in heaven. And I went home and told my wife, it was the best sermon I'd ever heard, and I preached it, and it was so good I should have taken notes on myself. And that was on Friday, and I preached it 6 times, not the one class. I heard it 6 times. So that's Friday. On Sunday, I'm downtown in a downtown parking ramp. So I taught school all week, and because I have lots of kids, I worked at a parking ramp downtown all weekend, 38 hours on the weekend. So I'm the guy sitting there at the booth, taking your ticket and your money, and I'm watching NFL football on a mini screen, and I'm eating a sandwich, snow on the ground, dark. This is in Des Moines, Iowa. And I hear this knock on my window, and I look up, and here's this bearded man, missing his teeth, dirty coat, bag of soda pop cans slung over his shoulder, staring at my sandwich, and he said, "Sir, can I have your sandwich?" And of course, after preaching 6 sermons about how important it is to feed someone, when you feed someone, it's like feeding Jesus himself. What do you think I said?
Of course, yes.
You'd have thought I would have said, of course, but I said, "I'm sorry, sir, but I need my sandwich." And his face drooped with disappointment, and he walked into the darkness, and it felt like a hammer came out of heaven and said, "Andy, you preached this on Friday, and you had a chance, and you missed it." And so I hoped and prayed for another chance. For 3 weeks, I hoped and prayed for another opportunity, and I found him on the street, and I fed him dinner. And within a week, the missions pastor at my church came and said, "Andy, there's a unique opportunity for somebody to work at the Downtown Rescue Mission. I think you're the right guy. Why don't you go apply for the job?" And I walked in reluctantly, but I saw what was going on, and I said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life practicing what I preach. So for the last 29 years, I've been trying to practice what I preach, which eventually brought me lots more harrowing stories, but eventually brought me to Skid Row. And I say I worked my whole life to end up on Skid Row, and I finally made it.
Wow. That is a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And it's something that I could take away, too, because I like to do charity work, but I can sometimes be guilty of some of the things that you mentioned,
Yeah.
I can.
Failure put me right where I needed to be. And
that's a wonderful thing.
Good to deal with your failure by learning from it.
Yes. Well, okay. I like that story. Let's talk about some of the statistics that are on Skid Row. I'm ready for them. I don't know if I want to hear it, but I'm ready.
Right. I told you that, well over 2,000 people on the streets. That means on the sidewalk, in a box, in a tent. Probably another several thousand who were in the shelters and downtown SROs, single-room occupancy. We feed 2,000 meals a day at the mission.
Wow.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's 4 meal times at each of those meal times. So, it's the program guys, and then followed by the families, followed by the women, followed by the single men, 3 times a day. So 2,000 meals.
Wow.
And we house up to 810 people every night. And discouraging enough is half of those are moms and kids. So half are women and children. So it used to be in the old days, it was all men, right?
Right.
Well, now it's half are women and children. And unfortunately, there's lots of women who are on the streets of Skid Row. And being a woman on the streets of Skid Row is so dangerous. You know, you're likely to be physically beaten, assaulted if you're a man, robbed. But if you're a woman, you know what's going to happen if you're left out on the streets. That's the one thing that causes my heart to ache the most, is the abuse that women on the streets of Skid Row are suffering. It really tears my heart up inside.
I can't imagine. You know, a lot of times I always say to people, you know, trade lives with these people. No one would do it, not even me, if you just had to trade lives with these people.
Yeah.
And when I ask people for any one thing for $5, and people act like they just can't give it up, you know, this may be the difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
Simple $5 may give them the hope. A lot of times we know information, we don't share it, and we don't give it. If you know someone that's homeless, try to help them out with some resources.
Yeah, send them our way. That, you know, don't pull up and give somebody cash necessarily. Show up, buy them lunch, sit down, hear their story, and send them to the appropriate resources. That's the best help you could be to somebody. Take your time, look somebody straight in the face, treat them with the dignity they deserve, have a meal with them, or at least buy them lunch, and then give them the resources they need to get in touch with
and to get on their feet.
Help, yes.
And that's what I understood through my tour with the Union Rescue Mission, is that this is a life transforming experience.
Yes.
You're not just there to be there and then
Right.
okay, your time's up, you got to go. It's a life transformation.
Right. Your time's never up at Union Rescue Mission unless your life has been transformed and you're ready to move out.
And that's
400 of our guests move into housing every year, and our folks in recovery, our aim is to have a life transformed, followed by a job, followed by a home.
Wow.
And for some guys, that means a year in recovery and then 6 to 24 months in our transitional housing on the 5th floor till they've saved enough money, they've landed a job, and they have a place to move. And we also have the Hope Gardens Family Center in the Valley,
Yes,
so that
I
our
feel
moms
more.
and kids are introduced to the Hope Gardens Family Center. It's the same kind of program that we have for men, but adapted for families.
Wow.
And that's like a 9-month to 3 years, up to a 3-year stay. And families stay until the mom has the job training and the job and the money saved to move out. And now, if the moms save money out at Hope Gardens, Mark Burnett and Roma Downey match what they've saved,
Oh, wow.
so that when they move out, they have double the money that they saved while they were there.
That's what I was going to say too. There's a savings program that goes
Yes.
on at the Union Rescue Mission. So when you leave, you don't leave with nothing. You actually leave with money and the tools that you need to have a successful life.
Yes. Yeah, we were wondering why our savings in our kind of our bank at the mission, why that number was growing. Well, people are saving more money. The guests are saving more money and
Right.
getting ready to move.
That is a wonderful thing. To be there, to have that safe haven is a wonderful thing. But then to know that you see a light at the end of the tunnel and that you're going to have your own life back again. Because these people weren't born this way, and these things sometimes just happen to people. And the same thing that was said before, you're one check away from being homeless,
Yeah.
that stands true.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because that is the high cost of housing in LA is probably the biggest reason for people experiencing homelessness. The high unemployment, the prolonged unemployment, which leads to discouragement and drinking and addiction, but also the biggest common denominator of people who are on the streets. They've lost all ties with their family. Their family disintegrated when they were young, or they've burnt every bridge with their family. So if you want to say what's the biggest cause, 93% of the people that I've surveyed have no connection with family. So we try to recreate that family community
Right.
feeling at the mission, and that's so important. The guys in recovery, their relationship with each other is doing more for them as they go through this process than the process itself.
Right.
And the process is amazing. 400 hours in a learning center, 40 hours of one-on-one counseling with a chaplain, hundreds of hours of PE class, getting in shape.
Yes,
you know,
I met Coach.
Mental health
Shout out to
counseling.
Coach. I was like, Coach, I do not want to go and mess with Coach, because he was like, you ready to work out? I was like, no, I'm here on a tour, Coach. I'm on a tour.
He's going to run you up and down the stairs.
Yeah,
wasn't
he was ready. I was like, hold on. But an amazing environment there where USC and UCLA come in to
Yeah.
do dental work.
They share a lobby, dental work and medical.
Isn't
clinic.
that
Yeah.
wonderful? And then Pepperdine comes and offers legal aid and counseling.
Right, now if we could just get the Lakers and Clippers to renovate our gym together.
We got to start praying on that, Reverend. Two things that I wanted to touch on was actually I met the graduates from the last class like 2 or
Nice.
3 weeks ago, and they were so happy and so cheerful, and I was just like honored to be in their presence. I met two of the pastors or the preachers there.
Chaplains, yeah.
Chaplains. I met them and we spoke extensively.
Good.
And I stayed at the mission for a while. Alexandra's like, okay, time to go. Because I was like, okay. She's like, I got to get back to work. I'm like, no, I want to know
This
more.
is work. Tell her this is work.
This
You-
is
you
work.
being with me is
you're,
work.
You're with me. Shout out to Alexandra too, because she took so much time and we've been speaking over the phone, and she's been so helpful, and the tour was amazing. It gave everything another dimension to what I had already had in my head. I'm like, this is a great place. I already knew before I got there. But once I left, it was just like, it's like someone breathed new life into me. It makes us so grateful for the things that we have. And another thing that I wanted to mention was Alexandra brought something up to me about being homeless. She was saying that if there's a family, and then I stay at your house, Andy, a few nights, me and my baby, and then I stay at your house, LaRon, and oh yeah, and you too, Kitty, I'm gonna go there. You're technically homeless.
Yes.
And I
Shared
didn't
housing.
realize that.
Yeah, people generally you lose your apartment, right? You get in your car, you maybe go use up your savings at a motel. Then you turn to family and friends. Then you wear out your welcome,
Yeah.
right? We all probably have experienced that or had that happen to somebody that was staying with us. They wore out their welcome.
Right.
And then you're back in your car, and then your car breaks down. Well, when your car breaks down, we're the place that you go.
Right.
We're kind of the last resort of help, of hope.
And then a lot of times I've noticed because of my job in my, they say, the other life, the tickets pile up on cars if you park and you're sleeping in your car, and if you're moving around, you don't pay attention.
Right.
And then sometimes I've seen it with my own two eyes, cars that get towed
Car
away.
gets towed away, your license is expired, you've got a ton of parking tickets, your car gets towed away, then the place to turn is Union Rescue Mission, the only rescue mission downtown that takes moms and kids, dads and kids, and two-parent families with kids.
Wow, that's wonderful. We're breezing through this. I told Andy you're going to need the whole hour because I have a lot of questions and we need a lot of information because it is a very, very, very great or good mission, and it's doing a lot of great work. The Union Rescue Mission is here tonight. CEO Reverend Andy Bales is here, and we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back with more info.
Are you a diabetic? Need some energy? Need to quench your thirst? Try Pit Bull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Need to quench your thirst? Try Pit Bull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Pit Bull Sugar-Free Energy Drink is the healthiest, best-tasting energy drink around. For more information and online ordering with free shipping, please visit hiphopbev.com. Remember, Pit Bull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, suitable for diabetics, great for everyone.
And we are back. I'm back with CEO Andy Bales, Reverend Andy Bales. I want to give him his proper title. He's worked very hard for it. And we're going to now speak about the Union Rescue Missions programs. The programs that are offered, all the great things that you do. You say you feed 2,000 meals a day to people. That's big.
Yeah, during the Great Recession, that was on its way to 5,000, and so we had to just make some changes because we would not be sustainable at 5,000 meals a day. But to give you an idea, during the Great Depression, there were 1.2 million people in LA, and we fed 140,000 meals or so that year. That was we served 42% of the free meals that charities served in 1934. But get that, 1.2 million people, right? 140,000 meals. So during the Great Recession of 2010, 3.6 million people in LA, so the population grew by 3 times.
Right.
But we fed 1.4 million meals that year, 10 times the number that we fed during the Great Depression. So we say we had a tougher year in 2010 than we did in 1934 during the Great Depression. And in 1934, we only served men or housed men. In 2010, we housed men, but we also housed 450 families because of the Great Recession.
That's amazing. The numbers are just staggering. I mean, you can't even fathom how many people there are. And we're just saying Skid Row, but I do this thing called Secret Santa. Not Secret Santa. I'm getting my charities mixed up. I do this thing called Operation Street Santa.
Okay.
And what I do is I gather friends, and we go to the Saturday before Christmas. We go to South LA, because you're not supposed to say South Central LA anymore. So we go to South LA, and we go under the freeways, and we provide jackets, socks,
Nice.
hygiene packets. We buy like 100 chicken sandwiches or breakfast sandwiches and feed the first 100 people because we prepare
Nice.
for 100 people. But I wonder, are those numbers added into the entire homeless population? When
Right.
the census was done, who checked on the homeless?
Well, we did a count recently, and they're getting better at the count. It's still impossible to get a full count because
Right.
you can't count very well when people are trying to
They're
hide.
moving around.
Right? And they're moving and they're trying to hide. But the last count, the numbers were more around 50,000 in LA County.
Wow.
And, at least 29,000 of those people are absolutely on the streets, in the woods, under bridges. So it's devastating how many people we have in LA who are living outside.
And I say, like, what's the answer?
Well, the answer is providing services and regionalizing those services throughout LA County rather than concentrating them on Skid Row, so that when somebody does experience homelessness, they can leave their apartment, turn in their keys, walk to services, and get reconnected with what they need.
Right.
The answer to Skid Row, I believe, is not only making sure those regional services are in place, but at the same time, let's go and reclaim, let's say, the county hospital, or let's reclaim the Martin Luther King old building,
Right.
and let's invite people on Skid Row. Bring your dog, bring your cart, bring your stuff, come with me. I'll have a shower for you tonight. I'll have a roof over your head, and we will work from there to I won't say this to them, but we will work from there to have a triage center to work with you till we can find you the right place to go.
Right.
Whether it's recovery, whether it's shelter, whether it's,
Mental health.
transitional housing, mental health facilities, an apartment of your own.
Right.
If we make up our minds, if we change our hearts, and we determine to change this, we have the capacity to do it. It's a matter of our hearts and our wills and courageous political leadership, which I'm starting to see in the city council right now.
Really?
They're meeting. They're having committees where they're talking about the fact we don't just need one strategy to solve this. We need a multi-pronged approach of strategies, and at least the talk is there. In the past, the talk has not even been there. So
Right.
it's giving me hope. And the other thing that's giving me hope, it can't get much worse. We're at the bottom. we have nowhere to go but up. And so I have hope that we are going to have a change of heart, and we are going to change things. And it's going to take all of LA, not just a few of us.
Well, I know that the Union Rescue Mission is doing its share, because I understand you provide showers.
Yes, we do. And when I say we change things, we were going to hit 5,000 meals a day. And we had to change our whole approach. We had to say, you know, we better just feed our folks that live inside 3 meals a day. Other folks are just gathering outside. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
They're depending to come in here, eat breakfast, come in here and eat lunch, come in here and eat dinner. Let's focus on one meal and do it well. We'll invite people in from the outside for lunch, and during that time we'll open up our showers from noon to 3, and everybody can come in and take showers, get new clothes, and while they're in for those 3 hours, we're talking to them about joining the recovery program,
Yes.
joining a long-term program like our Gateway program, our guest program. We also changed our Gateway program. I didn't tell you that when I walked into that mission 29 years ago, I was expecting a place where everybody was drunk, where the food wasn't good, because
Right.
that's what I had seen
Right.
previously. And, you know, I'd go with my dad to another mission. People would be drunk. I'd be singing. Somebody'd fall out of their chair. I was wondering if it was my singing or what they'd been drinking. We'd go to get a bowl of soup. It was watery bowl of soup and a stale piece of bread.
Right.
But when I walked in the door of Faith Mission in Des Moines, Iowa, it was completely different. The food was excellent.
Wow.
The place was clean. The guys were sober. The guys were eating a good meal and feeling good about themselves and going out and working hard and coming back and paying a part of their own way.
Wow.
And so it made the mission a much better place. And I learned that the founder, George Holloway, had spent 37 years on the streets himself, in and out of jails, in and out of missions that he didn't get treated well at.
Right.
Well, he came to Union Rescue Mission in LA back in the day when they allowed everybody to be drinking, when the food wasn't so good, when you had to
Wow.
listen to a sermon before you were able to eat.
Oh.
And he says, I'm going to start a mission that's going to change all that.
Right.
Well, he accepted Christ while he was at Union Rescue Mission in LA.
Wow.
He went back to his hometown, Des Moines, Iowa, and he started a mission that would be completely different. And so the food would be good, people would eat well, go out and work, come back, pay their own way. They'd be sober, because it was impossible to get sober when you're surrounded by people who are drinking.
Right.
It would be neat and clean, and so that's the mission I walked into, right? I walked into a mission that was founded by a guy who spent 37 years himself on the streets. He had a third grade education. I learned everything I know about running a mission from a guy with a third grade education. And so when I came to the Union Rescue Mission and was fortunate enough to be hired, I introduced that concept of running a mission like that, and they looked at me like, we've never done it that way. You know,
Really?
we're not going to do it that way.
Right.
And so I dropped it because I wanted to get the job. But I waited and I started trying to introduce that again. Couldn't get it going. 6 years later, when the Great Recession hit, and the board of directors looked at me and said, how are you going to make this place sustainable? And I said, well, we could have our guests. We have 300 guests. If we had our guests, they do have an income. If they paid part of their way and they had a personal savings, and we expected sobriety, and we let them rest in their bunks anytime that they want to, make it like home,
Right.
we could afford, you know, at least we'd get about $400,000 a year to help us be sustainable. Nope, not going to do it. 18 months later, Great Recession's lingering. How are you going to make this place sustainable? Brought it up again. Everybody said, well, let's give it a try. It was not much trust, but let's give
Right.
it a try. It transformed our mission.
Wow.
So at first, everybody moved out, right? It was April Fool's Day, I think. April Fool's Day maybe of 2009. Everybody moved out. 170 people left in the 300. But people started coming up to me and said, Andy, everybody that left was rebellious and angry. Everybody that stayed wants to change their life.
Right.
Thank you for doing this.
Wow.
And pretty soon, it's full. Now it's not 300, it's 388, completely at capacity. People are paying about $4.50 a day, saving $2 a day. They're sober. They have their own bunk that they can go to anytime during the day. They have a locked foot locker. They have high expectations, and they feel ownership. And so it's made the place more peaceful. and stronger. And, you know, thank goodness for George Holloway. Thank goodness for a board of directors and a team like Kitty who trusted us enough to pull it off. But that's the Gateway program. That's our guest program. That's the other deal. 400 people a year are moving out of the Gateway program into housing.
Wow.
That wasn't happening before. It was an endless cycle that you were describing earlier. I got 30 days and I'm out for 30 days.
Right.
Then I'm in for 30 days, then I'm out.
Right.
That endless cycle has stopped. People are staying as long as they need to get their life transformed, to get on their feet and move into housing.
Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so excited to have you here. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to say, what are you going to do? What can you do? And then I'm going to surprise you and say what I'm going to do. I'm stepping up, y'all. We'll be right back.
Are you a diabetic? Need some energy? Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink is the healthiest, best-tasting energy drink around. For more information and online ordering with free shipping, please visit hiphopbev.com. Remember, Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, suitable for diabetics, great for everyone.
And we are back. The last segment tonight, we're gonna bring it up a notch, and we're gonna say, what can you do? And then I'm gonna say what I'm gonna do. And I'm excited. I'm so excited to be partnering with Union Rescue Mission. I had a little talk with myself, and I was like, what are you gonna do this year? Get up and do it. Let's get it done. So I'm gonna talk about that. But what type of things does the Union Rescue Mission need on a day-to-day basis for the residents?
We need everything.
Yes.
Our gift in kind is what we call it.
Yes.
It is down. It is way down. One of those things is it's gotten so rough out on the sidewalks around the mission that people aren't bringing things to our loading dock. So now we're going to have people bring it to our underground parking, bring it to our thrift store at Covina, 280 East Arrow Highway in Covina, bring it to our Bell warehouse, bring it to our Hope Gardens Family Center out in Sylmar. We need stuff, and that means, you know, everything you need at home: underwear, socks, pants, shirts, dresses, knickknacks, everything that people, hygiene products, food. We need everything. Backpacks for kids, towels, you know, school supplies, soap, shampoo.
Everything. Light bulbs, laundry detergent.
Yes.
Any and everything that we need at home. You imagine if you had a 225,000 plus square foot home, everything that you would need to run it.
810 family members.
With 810 family members. Oh my goodness. That is saying a lot. So a lot of times I tell folks, if you go to the 99-cent store, pick up $5 worth of, you're not going to miss that $5.
Right.
Pick up a toothbrush, toothpaste, maybe some body wash, deodorant. Maybe that's just $4. But so many times these things mean so much for someone to feel clean. That's just a great part of
yes, that's a huge part of life transformation.
Yeah,
right?
A great way to start your day, to feel fresh and feel clean. You may be able to approach someone or even ask for a job if you simply just feel good.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good thing. And what about volunteers? What do you all do about volunteerism?
We love volunteers. Volunteers make all the difference in the world, right? I always say our contributors provide the resources to keep us going, and we need that.
Yes.
Our staff kind of provides the structure in which to work, but it's the volunteers pouring in that give that extra dose of love that brings the formula, the recipe for life transformation. So we have hundreds of volunteers that pour in every day, that help in the kitchen, that help in the learning center, that go out on water walks with us, that are there to mentor people.
What's a water walk?
We go out every day that's 85 degrees or hotter, and we take 2,000 bottles of water, which we need bottles of water.
Wow.
We go out on the streets and we hand out a cold bottle of water, and we let people know that we love them and care about them.
Wow.
And we've had people that day move right back into the mission with us after getting a cold bottle of water. And so it's a fun. I used to push the cart. Now I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't push the cart. But Big Kenny Taylor pushes the cart now, or one of the strong guys at the mission, and I wheel along and just give love and hugs to people along the way. And
we're going to talk about your athletic endeavors. What about it?
Well, I've always been active, right? But since my foot got destroyed, I've been in a wheelchair. So I quickly shifted from last August, I biked across Iowa on a bicycle. Then I came home and I rode around Lake Tahoe, a 73-mile bike ride with a 5-mile mountain climb and a 7-mile mountain climb. I did it all with a wound boot on. But that wound boot, when I got back, I got 3 fleshing diseases in my wound, and it went all through my foot and destroyed my foot. So I quickly had to change my car from a regular car to a hand control car so I could keep working. And I quickly changed my bike from a regular bike to a hand cycle so that I could keep biking. And so I did the marathon on a hand cycle, and I'm going to try to work up. I've been swimming about 4 miles a week, and I'm going to try to get a racing wheelchair so that way I can do the swim, the hand cycle, switch to the racing wheelchair, and I want to work up to where I do a triathlon, an Ironman triathlon.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, I would root you on the entire way because it sounds like you're doing so much for people, but you're still keeping your life intact, even though you have a big owie that we're going to be praying for.
Thank you.
And your spirits and everything are so wonderful, and you're someone that we can look up to. And sometimes when people have something that might set them back, it may devastate them, but you're the great picture. You're someone that we can look to and say, it didn't stop him. Why should it stop me?
So in the last 3 years, I've had a quadruple bypass, a kidney transplant after dialysis, and then I got the foot destruction.
Wow.
But I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to quit. I made up my mind. I sat beside the bathtub one day and said, I'm going to take a pain pill. I'm going to manage this pain, and I'm going to keep going.
And that's what you're doing. Great job. Wonderful, wonderful. Wow. Let's give them a hand. I have a few people here. Yay.
Hey, a bunch of other people joined.
A bunch of other people are here.
Thank you.
That is so, that I like when people can talk it and live it, you know, and you should be like the face we see in the dictionary or the Wikipedia, that which is a free online dictionary that I always use. I looked up a wolf spider today, and I didn't know what it was before.
Look up indefatigable. I told Kitty I wanted to have that as the name of my book, and she says, I don't think people will understand that, but you know, if you put it on there, maybe they'll look it up.
I'm gonna look it up, and I'm a Toastmaster, so we might make that the word of the day one day soon, if I'm the grammarian. So, the last thing that I think I want to speak about, is, I don't know if you've seen this, but the reason for my tour at your facility was to partner with the Union Rescue Mission to provide 100 backpacks. I went in and I called and I said, Alexandra, I would love to get a tour and I would love to speak to you. And so we went into one of the beautiful offices on the 2nd floor, and I said, has anyone come to you for backpacks this year? And she said, no.
Not yet.
And I said, well, I'm it. I can do it. How many you need? She was like, 100. I was like, 100? Like 100? And she was like, yeah. I was like, I can do that. I have a lot of friends and have a lot of people that support me, and we're going to get it done. And so I've been reaching out to people, and my living room is piling up with backpacks, and I still need more. So my intentions are to donate the 100 backpacks through the help of friends and then present a small party for the children to let them know that we want to give them a great start at a great education.
You were going to do a small party, and then you started talking to your friends who now are going to do jump ropes and beautician.
Yes, and my friend Diane Clay wants to go and braid hair.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a wonderful thing. I want to build a relationship and a partnership with Union Rescue Mission, and my boss, who owns Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, supports so many things that I do, and I'm so appreciative that he's going to also help with this party. And he's going to make sure that we have an amazing time for the children. So I want to have a face painter and a DJ and things like that. I want to have a great day for the children.
We're going to team up to bring Roscoe's and Chicken and Waffles. I think we could pull that off.
I think we can. I think it's a great thing. We did take a little food to the Los Angeles Ronald McDonald House, so we do help. And there are so many things that we do in the community. It's all about giving back. We're a staple at Roscoe's in the community, really globally. So our work should be also a little bit known, but we don't talk about much that we do, but there is work behind the scenes.
Nice.
And this is one of them. So I'm so happy that we are going to collect 100 backpacks. We are going to fill the backpacks with hygiene products as well, and we're going to present these things to the children.
It's going to be a fun day for the
I am
kids.
excited. It's a challenge for me to what do we say in Toastmasters, Diane? Call to action. Mm-hmm. This is a call to action for anyone who cares about anyone else. If you have a child, could you imagine them not having a backpack just to start school? It's something so simple. And I'm talking about backpacks that are $3.94.
Yeah.
I'm talking about go online and find a backpack for $2 on eBay. These are brand new backpacks. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of so many clubs and things like that, and they're all going to help. And I spoke to a lady. She goes, well, what if you don't get 100? I said, oh, I'm getting 100 backpacks. I said, if I have to get the backpacks myself.
The look in your eyes, she believed you.
It's going to happen. It is going to happen. And I felt like it was divine intervention that I ended up here at the Union Rescue Mission, and that no one had come forward this year yet for backpacks. So what we want to do is actually, I'm looking at 100 as my goal, but we want to do more than 100, because if we talk about people who just have to leave home with their children, well, they may need a backpack. So we want to supply have a small stockpile of those backpacks for the children who do come in, and then they can have something that they can call their own.
Thank you.
I even bought a bunch of little ones for the little babies who were under 5, just little tote bags, and we want to make sure we give them a great chance at education, and this will be very, very nice for the children. I'm so excited. I can't wait. So what do you think about my great idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think you're a wonderful lady and a beautiful lady, so thank you so much.
I'm excited. We're going to make it happen. Are there any final words? We want to just make sure that we say donations are always needed. The address of the Union Rescue Mission is 545 South San Pedro.
Pull into the underground where it's very safe.
Pull into the underground, which is where I parked. And the gentleman, he was so nice. I've forgotten his name, Ernie. He was like, oh, park here. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, I'm not going to get towed. He said, you're not going to get towed. And it was safe. And it was very, I felt like I had my own little personal VIP parking spot. So if you have any gently used clothing, we need those things, because sometimes someone might want to go to an interview. If you have an old suit that's not old, when I say gently used, that's what I mean, gently used.
You just don't wear it anymore.
You just don't wear it anymore. They have a closet where you can go, and everything's set up by shoe sizes and clothing sizes. So if you have things that you don't want or you don't need anymore, I actually took a bag of clothing also when I went. And I was like, golly, there's so many more things that I can think of doing. And I set up little projects through the year, but we want to do a clothing drive where we can build up our closet there at the Union Rescue Mission. And we want to do all that we can do. Excuse me. That's my dinner. We want to do all the things that we're supposed to do to give back. And you're doing so much for so many. If you have a canned food drive, that's a wonderful thing. If you have extra food, don't let it go bad. bring it to the rescue mission. Give it to me. I'll take it. Sometimes that's people have that excuse. Oh, I can't make it down there. Oh, I can't go. Oh, I get off work too late. I'll get it. I'll take it. I'll do it.
Thank you.
No excuses. We want to make sure we get the job done. We want to talk the talk, walk the walk, and live the way that we're supposed to be living and do for others. I believe it's our duty. Any final words? I gave you the final words and I did it. Go ahead, Andy.
No, that's right. We need your help all year long. And every gift, no matter how big, no matter how small, makes a huge difference, makes a huge impact on our precious guests, as I like to call them. And they are precious people. And if we can just change the way Los Angeles looks at those precious people who are experiencing homelessness. I like to say precious people who are currently experiencing homelessness, because if you refer to them as the homeless, you kind of write them off.
Yeah.
But if you realize that at one time they were somebody's precious baby that they held in their arms and the world revolved around, they're somebody's aunt or uncle or brother or sister, somebody's father or mother, then you start to think about people differently. And it's just a current condition. They can bounce back and they can be very productive citizens once again. If we change the way we view people who are experiencing homelessness, we can change our hearts and change the way we treat people who are experiencing homelessness. And that needs to happen in all of LA.
And it goes back, I think it goes back to what you said earlier. I'm going to carry that with me. When you feed someone, it's like feeding God. When you treat someone bad, it's like treating God bad. And we don't want to disappoint God. We want to do the things that God wants us to do. Yeah. And it's so important because God is in the shelter here. It's not just a place to go. There's a reason behind it. There's a path that people take for righteousness, to make a life transformation, and it's there for them. Right.
And if we even care about ourselves, we will start to care about the people who are on Skid Row. And I think we all care a little bit about ourselves,
we do.
Right?
We do. Yeah, selfie world.
Me.
Me. Let's think about someone else, just sometimes. What if someone said, I want you to give us your information.
Yes.
Last thing.
Thank you.
Give us your information. And what if someone says, oh, like me, I could say, I'll probably blow $25 a month, but that's not enough to send. What would you say to that person a month?
I would say $25 will pay for maybe, let's say, 12 meals.
Wow.
Maybe 12 to 15 meals for somebody else. Your $25 that you blow could make a difference for one person for 12 to 15.
Well, I'm going to give $25 tonight.
Thank you.
I'll do that. I always like to do what I can do, and I think I have $25 somewhere in my purse. So that's going to be my donation for tonight in anticipation of the things that are to come. So give us the information, how we can reach you. And if you want to send a $25 check, it will feed a lot of people.
Union Rescue Mission's general number is 213-347-6300. Go to urm.org and you can donate right online.
Oh, cool.
Or if you want to connect with me, Kitty doesn't like it when I do this, but my cell phone is 626-260-4761.
Repeat that.
626-260-4761. I'd love to hear from you. Love to have you come take a tour.
Yes.
And see where you might fit in, where your talents would fit in, volunteering at the mission, and get involved.
Yes, get involved. I am so grateful that you came again. I want to really
Thanks for the invite.
Extend a heartfelt thank you and tell you that you're welcome to come back anytime. Next year, there's going to be a big celebration. 125 years, there aren't many things that would stand that test of time. And you've stood it and helped so many people come and go on to better places.
Well, if not for people like you, we wouldn't have made it 125 years.
Wow.
And if not for people who give that $25 a month, it makes all the difference in the world. So thank you for being one of those rock solid people that keeps us going.
I will. I'm committed, and I'm not going to take this lightly, and I don't suggest that any of you do too. Please donate anything you can and anything that you will to the Union Rescue Mission. No excuses. Call me if you'd like me to take those things down there. We say thank you, and God bless the Union Rescue Mission, and God bless Reverend Andy Bales for doing such an amazing job. We'll see you next week in the community. And remember, backpacks, backpacks, backpacks. I need them. Get them to me. Thanks. Bye-bye.